What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So if you prep or camp a lot or do any type of survival training, you find yourself buying a lot of stuff. One, to test out, and two, just to, see how practical it is, whether it goes in your bug out bag, your survival bag, you take your cabbages, whatever it is, you always find yourself buying gear. And I find myself doing that as well. Like, especially with Temu, they always have some good, gear that, low price, but it makes you wonder, how good is it? So I end up buying a lot of stuff that sometimes works out to be great. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, why did I buy this? Do I really need it? Sometimes it just is what it is. And it just goes somewhere and I end up throwing it away or whatever. So I buy a lot of stuff. But so let me show you a couple of things that I picked up over the months that I've may or may not use, but it was cheap. When you shop on Temu, everything is low price. They always offer these special deals. So you end up just buying stuff just to really test it out to see how useful it will be if you ever decide to use it. Or, especially if I go camping, I'll try it out when I go camping, and see how it goes. So let me show you a couple of items that I picked. All right, so here are a couple of items that I picked up on Temu just to see. One is a giant magnet for metal fishing, I guess. And honestly, I'm like, when am I ever going to use this? But it was cheap, and I brought it. The rope is not the greatest, but I'm like, I think I spent like maybe $10. It is a strong magnet. Well, that's not magnetic, but it is a strong magnet. It's heavy, has some weight to it. When am I ever going to use this? I don't know. But, it was cheap, so I figured, why not try it, What the heck, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't a lot of money. I mean, you could always change the rope out, something with some stronger, durable, more power cord if you really want to do some metal fishing. But, yeah. And then I picked up this. This is a gravity hook. And I like it. And I've had it for a while. But I'm like, I'm never really going to use it. What was great about it because you could just drop it down. Let me just show you. And you could easily pick up something like that quarter. That's what's so cool about it. See? What's so cool about it? Because you could just drop it on something. Well, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, but anyway, it's supposed to drop. Once it lands on it, see, picks it up. They call it a gravity hook. And it has another thing to make it into like a little grappling hook, which goes in here. Let me show you, hold on. All right, so this is what it ends up looking like once you put it in there. Slides in there like that. There's a little piece, just a little safety thing that locks it in place to keep it from opening. It's supposed to be a little grappling hook. It's pretty cool. I don't think I'm ever going to be scaling anything or using it for anything other than something like a novelty item. The rope is very durable, by the way. I must say the rope is pretty good. But other than that, this right here, I'm like, when am I ever really going to use this? But, like I said, it was cheap. I wanted to try it out. There's a little slap that goes on there and it opens back up. This piece comes up. It has some weight to it. It's pretty good. But like I said, it's one of those items that, unless I drop something in a hole that I can't get it out, you got to hit this just right. Other than that, it's really serves no real purpose. Whatever. It is what it is. And then I picked up this recently. This is a little mini. If you've been on a TikTok shop or, you've seen this little mini compound bow online a lot. I'm a big compound bow. I have a compound bow and a crossbow. So I picked this up. It's cute. They say I have like a 20-pound draw. I don't believe it's that powerful, that strong, but it's pretty cool, It was more so of a novelty item, just to buy, just to play around with it. Have some decent, little goals. But it's a little sweet. But it's one of those things as a prepper, you buy stuff, want to try it out too, just to have and see people up to with it. I was like, oh, let me try this. I mean, it may be good for killing small game, or just played around with stuff. But other than that, it is what it is. Like I say about metal fish, who's to say grapple? Who's to say? I may not never need that. I keep this in my bug out bag. One because I like the rope, but I keep this in one of my bug out bags actually, just to have, because you never know. You never know, and that's usually the philosophy to have. I used to be a Boy Scout, so you buy stuff and see what happens. You never know, you may need it in the future. So that's why I have it. This would be good, to go fishing with. Has a little power. You can have some straight to the back. It's these is more of a novelty item more so than anything else. But this is the stuff you buy as a prepper just to have. And I buy a lot of stuff like this. Some of the stuff, is very handy, and I keep it. I use it when I go camping. Like I just picked these up. Let me show you. I picked these up. See these on TikTok, and a couple of survivalists talked about these. These are for strapping down your tarps. This little latch thing locks them in place, makes it more secure. So I got these and use these when I go camping next time. It's you see stuff. And it's like, I have so many different things that does the same thing. You just end up buying more of the same stuff. There's different qualities, there's different functions. But, like I said, you've seen these online. I've seen a lot of guys play with them. They was, on Temu for cheap. Cheaper than it was on Amazon. So I figured, why not? Pick them up, try them out, It is what it is. So that's the thing. I buy stuff, I try it out. If I like it, great. If not, great. What else? I have something else, but I can't find it. So, it is what it is. And that's the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm always saying I'm trying to build the channel up. But, life gets in the way with everything's going on. So it's hard for me to upload content as much as I would like, even though I do a lot of stuff within camping and prepping. But, make sure you check out the website, wecan'twesurvive.com. You guys be safe, and as always, get ready.